Chapter 133 to 134, Amon Pov. The first thing I need to do is get the blood sample of Hiyori. This should be enough to prove Toki's arrival here. I gotta say, the AI played me good. Laughing to myself, thinking how it might have been better to just have destroyed her, I sipped coffee from the cup in my hands. Currently, I was standing by the seashore of Kuri, enjoying the sunrise. Wano was based on Japan, so the sun rising is a delightful spectacle here. I noticed some coconut trees around the place. They made me a little thirsty for coconut milk. Phew. While feeling the wet sand on my barefoot, I enjoyed the light breeze caressing my hair. It's already been 2 weeks since I've been here. Just like in canon, where Ace supposedly spent a few weeks with people in Kuri, this time around, we have already spent 2 weeks. From what I learned, it seems Kaido's meeting with Daffy hasn't ended yet. I got the news from Viola. I do hope Daffy remains smart and doesn't reveal my visit to Dressrosa. Anyway, I can't waste more time than this. I waited because Ace waited. But now I need to move and force him to move as well. I am not scared of clashing with Kaido. I will survive even if I can't defeat him. But Ace will surely die. Losing a golden egg-laying goose such as him would be a shitty ending. Fa! I released a hot breath, causing fog to come out of my mouth. I'm gonna take the biggest gamble on War of the Best 2 years from now on. It would be my proper advancement to an emperor. Currently, I am just all bark, no bite. Releasing another sigh while reminiscing over my past life without any particular reason, I spent my time in the seashore until the sun was above my head. General Pov. Ace, I will search for the whereabouts of Jack. Saying this, Amon had left an hour ago at night. Since he already knew about Jack's whereabouts, he just needed an excuse to use when asked meaningless questions. They would easily believe, since to them, Amon's power is to teleport, as that's the only power he showed up until now. But this was not a complete excuse either, because as planned, Amon targeted Hiyori now. It was a little hard to find her in this country filled with millions, but since he's been looking for her since day one, Amon easily found her. Unlike Hitetsu, Amon didn't have anything to chat with her about, so the best course of action would be to enter her room at night, get her blood, and exit the room. So here was Amon now. In the red light district of Flower Capital, he entered the biggest brothel of Wano at night when everyone else was asleep. Sssss. Amon teleported inside Hiyori's room as he spotted something. Interesting. The first thing he noticed after entering the room was a person hiding above the ceiling of the room. He wasn't a thief. He was Hiyori's personal guard who didn't sleep at night for the sole reason of protecting her. It was Denjiro, one of the 9 scabbards of Odin who currently under the alias Kiyoshiro. He was awake, sitting above the ceiling. His owl-like gaze was on the room, looking for any intruder. The moment he spots someone other than Komurasaki, Hiyori, he will jump and cut them down. Luckily, being prepared for this already, Amon was wearing an invisible coat. He has got quite a few of them made before. From the single copy he had when he first went to Burka to fetch the Goro Goro no Mi, he made many more copies after using it as a base with space technology. It is many times better than Sanji's Germa suit's cloak. Amon, to not make any sound, started to float a few inches above the floor. He flew towards the sleeping Hiyori, who was covering her body with a futon, and took out a syringe. Silently sending electrical signals in her brain to control her sleeping body, Amon made Hiyori slowly pull her futon down and pointed the syringe on her forearm's blood vessel. Chat! As the needle pierced her skin, Hiyori groaned, making Amon frown. He stopped and waited for her to get used to the needle. Then, seeing her eyes still closed, he started to pull her blood on the syringe. Shh, shh. Amon blinked, hearing her clear moan. It was weird why she was reacting this way. Amon was a little flustered, but he continued to slowly pull the syringe. However, this small sound had alerted Denjiro. "Who is there?" Suddenly, a sound came from above the ceiling. Thud! Denjiro, the owner of the voice, jumped down. He was loud enough to wake up normal people, but for someone who's been looking after Hiyori for more than 10 years, he knew she was a sound sleeper and didn't hold back his throat. He looked at the heavily breathing Hiyori with narrowed eyes. The room was dark, but as a samurai, he was used to it. He couldn't find anyone around Hiyori. Then what was her cause of groans? He blinked. A dream? A wet dream, maybe? The thought instantly vanished the moment it crossed his mind. His lady was already 22 years old after all. Although this might be considered a funny situation, it was not for Amon. He frowned and prepared to knock him out, however. Zzzt. A mosquito arrived at the perfect time, as Denjiro's frown deepened. Hearing the annoying sound the mosquito was making, he clenched his katana's hilt. "A mere mosquito dares to hurt Lady Hiyori!" He took out his sword and slashed the mosquito once, cutting it into 7 pieces. Damn, WTF. Amon chuckled internally seeing this. As Denjiro turned around and jumped on the ceiling again, Amon quickly pulled Hiyori's blood while making sure she didn't moan. After completing the job, Amon instantly flew thousands of kilometers and went to the Skypia. He put the blood sample in a concealed test tube and put it in a refrigerator to keep the blood fresh. After completing the job, Amon's duty was to make Ace trigger using Jack's news. Sitting on the seashore of Kuri, under the night sky filled with stars, the crew was enjoying a BBQ cooked by Amon. The crispy scent of burned meat made everyone hungry, especially Ace, who was drooling. "Your cooking never gets old, ha ha." In this timeline, the crew didn't have an official cook. So normally, Perry used to cook most of the time, but her cooking was severely outmatched by Amon's. She was quite jealous of it, and it was the first reason why she got interested in Amon. Her jealousy quickly vanished as she traveled together with him, and she rather started to bear a liking towards him. This time around, though, she didn't want to let Amon enjoy all the praise and made the hot sauce. "Fufu, you like it? Wano spices are top-notch, the best I tasted. Just put some in your mouth, will you?" Perry laughed and declared. Amon's metallic mask was versatile and can be removed part by part, like he can open the mouth part while still wearing the mask. He did so, opening the mouth part of his mask, and put the piece of meat dripping in the yellow sauce. It's good." Amon chewed on the meat. "I guess it does make the meat taste better, good job." Seeing Amon approve of her, Perry felt her heart flutter. Amon's characteristics weren't the type to make people fall in love with him even if he was quite handsome. Generally, people would be interested in a one-night stand. But since this time Amon was manipulating a woman willingly, there was no way Perry wouldn't have fallen for him. Haha, right. She avoided eye contact and ate her food, almost choking in nervousness. Around an hour passed by as everyone enjoyed the food. Otama had joined the party midway. She was also eating her food while sitting on Amon's lap. Suddenly, while stroking Otama's hair, Amon asked Ace, "Ace, I found out that Jack is on the island beside Wano, Onigashima." Ace stopped chatting with the crew and looked at Amon seriously. Ace frowned. "Why?" "I want to defeat Kaido, too. I don't want the people here to suffer." Amon scoffed at him internally. This is why he didn't like people with hero syndrome. "Ace!" Amon yelled loudly, making Ace flinch. "Tell me who is stronger, you or me?" "Huh?" Ace was surprised as he blinked. He was surprised why he suddenly yelled, but he decided to pay attention to the question for now. If this was the past him, he would have instantly said he is stronger, but he has seen Amon hunt down dozens of Sea Kings easily, which he couldn't do. "You are stronger," Ace said with a sigh. Amon nodded. He made his eyes sharp, like a person giving a motivational speech. "Yes, I am stronger, and that me is saying I can't beat Kaido." Actually, Amon might successfully beat Kaido, but Ace doesn't need to know that. Mr. Portgas D. Ace, are you perhaps assuming your hero complex will help you another time? Amon continued in a harsh tone. Wake up, Ace. You already lost one of your companions. You were lucky to even survive. Don't risk your companions' lives anymore. Think about it. You said you have a brother, right? Imagine what he will do if Kaido kills you. Ace sighed as he recalled Luffy's smiling face. He will come to take revenge. Amon nodded, his eyes grim. Yes, he will. You see where I am pointing at? Kaido won't spare that kid, Luffy his name was. Finally, dejected, Ace nodded. I understand. It was quite interesting how someone like Ace accepted the suggestion of someone else. Ace bit his lips. I get it. The crew was shocked as they looked at Amon with admiration. In truth, they didn't want to fight Kaido either. But they knew their captain was stubborn, so they were mentally preparing themselves for a death battle. Ace ignored their gaze and said, Then what should we do, mister? After a brief silence, Amon's eyes went back to the amicable look as he laughed. It's good to see you understand, Ace. Don't worry much. If you want to save these people, just get stronger, he said. Remember, strength is everything. Kaido is able to trample this country because he has the power to do so. Anyway, Amon created pressure around him as he grinned. Now what we need to do is to invade Onigashima, the place where Jack the Drought is. It was time. Time to see what the Diary of Odin had. Onigashima. It is the HQ of Beast's pirates. Most of the members of the crew stay here, so even other emperors would think twice before attacking this place. However, Ace was different. He had one goal to kill Jack, and he would take any risk to accomplish that. As a pirate, he has done many bad deeds, but he never killed a person before. However, losing a companion changed him. Still, he only wanted to kill Jack, not pick a fight with all of Beast's pirates. For that reason, currently, he and the crew were under disguise. Hence, Amon and Ace's crew were now heading toward Onigashima in a small boat. Meanwhile, according to what Amon knew, Jack was still in Onigashima, and Rio was sent to Udon's prisoner mine. Certainly, for a person like Rio, who couldn't stand seeing the weak suffer, it angered him to the loftiest extent. However, he wasn't brave enough to do something against Amon's plan. Amon didn't care, and rather put more attention on the raid tonight. Shah! The sea waves were rough, leaping high in the sky, colliding with each other. Giant fish and sea kings were jumping out of the water with their mouths wide open. They were fighting among themselves, biting one another. It was a tumultuous scene, however, surprisingly. Among this rough climate, a small boat was moving through the sea. In the boat, a person who was wearing a black jacket, as if magic, controlled water and slashed a blade made of it towards the sea kings. Psst. The water blade cut the head of the fishes in a matter of seconds, splashing a large chunk of water on the small boat. Ah! The boat shook from the impact of the water. The riders screamed, but ultimately managed to hold off. They took a while to regain their composure as they looked at the waterbender. Woohoo! That was awesome! Just like Jimbei! The people riding the boat cheered towards the person who controlled water, Amon. All of them were wearing a black jacket and black pants, while a pair of red horns were on their head. People would assume they were members of the Beast's pirates, but in truth, they were the Spade Pirates. According to Amon's plans, along with Amon himself, the crew disguised themselves and were heading towards Onigashima. Man, you are good, Ace said while standing up from his lying position. He fell when the water hit the boat. Just how many abilities do you have? He asked while patting his wet chest. Amon laughed in response. Many. They didn't question much and just chatted while killing some sea kings and holding off the boat. They left a while ago from Kuri. Amon promised Otama to return and pick her up later on. Soon after, they reached the outskirts of Onigashima. So, where do we go now? Ace asked, while crouching behind a box. The crew was crouching just like him, hiding behind boxes and pillars of the cargo ships docked in the shipyard. In Onigashima, Kaido receives smiles from Doffy by these ships. Amon and the crew were hiding inside one of them. Onigashima, although not as big as Wano, was still pretty big. That was the reason why Ace, in the canon, was able to destroy things, yet nobody of the Flying Six attacked him, nor did the others, only because he was away from the big shots. He was just happily chatting with Yamato and eating food with her. Currently, they were on the part of the island where Jack was on the watch, away from the Flying Three. As Amon had planned, there were no other big faces to stop them other than Jack now. Amon's plan goes like this. 1. Make Ace fight Jack. Certainly he will lose. 2. Then intervene and kill Jack, but making sure the news gets out that Ace killed Jack. 3. Watch out for variables such as Yamato, who will most likely intervene. And that's when Amon will move and steal the diary, giving Ace all the credit. It was a well-thought-out plan, and no problem shall occur as long as Amon, an emperor, helps. Amon was absorbed in looking for Jack with his observation and didn't hear Ace's question. So Ace asked again, where do we go now? Oh. Amon, who was surprised, blinked. Give me a minute. I am looking for him. As he said this, Ace nodded, and Amon closed his eyes. Even with a range of 300 kilometers, it was hard to look for a specific person in the middle of thousands. After a few minutes, Amon opened his eyes again and looked at the faces of the crew. Guys, I found him. He is alone and drinking wine. Ace grinned shortly after. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Above the roof of Jack's personal mansion, he was sitting in a chair with a barrel filled with wine in his hand. He was depressed since his inferior complex hit him hard and was spending time drinking. It was then, bam! Jack heard a loud sound coming from not so far. He instantly got up from the chair and widened his observation haki. Intruders! Jack looked far and jumped from the roof, leaping far in the air. No, he can't use Geppo. He was just that confident in his defense. Thud. Jack fell in between some soldiers, making a crater in the ground. Jack-sama! There are intruders! Jack walked in heavy steps. I know. Prepare for battle. He walked as he slowly started to transform. He was in a bad mood, so he would use his hybrid form, which, although weakens his defense, is fast and strong enough. Slowly, Jack's body changed as he transformed into a furry half-elephant, half-human. The crew wanted to hideously reach Jack, but from a mistake made by one of the crew members, they attracted the attention of the other small fries after entering Jack's residence's quarters. The crew easily took them out, but one of the enemies used a bomb to create a small explosion, thus alerting Jack. While the crew finally finished the small batch of enemies inside Jack's mansion's borders, they discovered the man with an elephant-like trunk, horns, and fur walking towards them. He opened his jaws. Oh, it did you guys. So you followed me all the way here? The crew noticed him. Ace's furrows knitted. Meanwhile, Jack's aura seemed to ease up a little seeing these weak bastards. Initially, he assumed, to dare infiltrate Beast's Pirates HQ, the other party must be strong, but to think it was these weaklings. However, soon after his veins popped up, he was already angry from before, but now this angered him more. Hey, you fools! Jack didn't care anymore. He didn't kill them last time because of Rio, but he has snapped now. He will only rest after killing Ace. Foo! Jack kicked the ground and dashed forward at an astonishing speed. This hybrid form allowed him to act swiftly while still bringing about great strength. However, Ace didn't plan to fall back now. He couldn't remember what he did last time, that special technique he used. Yet he didn't fall back. His anger didn't let him. Ace started to heat the steam around his fist. Soon after, it started to glow brightly. Fire! Ace punched at Jack, who was only 10 meters away from him. Fist! He has perfected this technique on his way here. Now he can produce heat equivalent to an actual flame. Zah! Boom! Ace's fist glowed blue and gushed towards Jack 10 meters away. Immediately, it caught on his fur as he got lit up in a fire. Wow! He is burning! Ace won! The crew cheered, but it didn't even last 2 seconds as they realized Jack didn't stop on his track and was about to hit Ace in the face with his trunk. For a moment, they got Deuce's flashback. They recalled how he was killed. "No, Ace!" Perry's voice rang the loudest among the crew members shouting. Jack obviously didn't care and swung his trunk. Ace clenched his teeth to receive the blow while someone moved. Bam! Jack hit Ace, but the hit didn't touch him, because a man has walked between them. Well, isn't this interesting? You are burning, but you are fine. It was the soothing voice of the man in the mask. Ha! The defense of ancient Zoans is terrifying. Jack didn't answer. He was just a little shocked at where and how this man suddenly came here. He didn't even see him move. Still, Jack just took a step back and breathed a large chunk of air with his trunk. Phew! Then with a single gust of wind on his body, he turned off the fire. It was interesting how he was able to do so, since normally his fur would burn hotter because of the oxygen. As if guessing the question, Jack answered. Logic doesn't work when you surpass a certain threshold of power. He was right. Logic didn't work for some people, however. Jack wasn't the only one. Amon was also one of them. Amon laughed suddenly. Ha, 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 ain't that true? But you are weak. Jack the Drought, let me show you the limit of logicless power. While Jack was shocked and angry, Amon raised his hand towards Jack's head. This is true power. It defies logic. His hand suddenly glowed. A yellow-reddish beam of compressed lighting came out of Amon's palm and went towards Jack, who had wide eyes. It was plasma, the pure heat extracted from lightning. Jack had wide eyes in the slowed-down world. As he observed the beam come to him slowly, he got lost in thought. This is like Kaido-sama's heat breath, Jack thought. He couldn't think anymore as he was hit by the beam in his face, soon getting completely engulfed in the beam as it increased in size. Shh! The air was soon filled up with the smell of crispy mammoth meat.